Hi there, this is Jodie and this is chapter 3 of the Understudy. I had never been one for stage fright. I wasn't even nervous, but being an extra didn't take much doing after so many years. However, the script had been written, Will and I were dressed up, and it had been a manic scramble to memorise lines and dance steps. Lauren had been every other character in the show as we'd spent 2 days immersed in rehearsing and trying not to mess up. I'd felt confident with Lauren and Will, but now I was in fake armour, Will at my side, about to actually act in front of people. The dress rehearsal was the only rehearsal we would get because Ella and James had been busy reworking, remarketing and reimagining the entire thing. How did we get here? Will mumbled, his hand shaking as he gripped mine, 2 wimps shaking in the stage wings. It was hardly star-like behaviour. Ella likes frogs. I gripped his hand, not sure which one of us was winning the soaked palm contest. She doesn't like gum. Music rolled up from the pit, and I took a breath. Drag duo, a go. He chuckled and gave my hand a squeeze, and we headed on stage. Being on stage with him was easy. Somehow the nerves fell away, and it was like we were back in our digs, running through the lines. Will was the same, with the lights blocking out the stores. We relaxed into it to the point that Will ad-libbed when I got my foot stuck in the hay, and I yanked my foot out of the boot jammed in the set, and made some joke about losing a shoe. It was a blur. The scenes rolled by quickly, and the stage became a ballroom, extras prancing around, lights sparkled, and I strolled out in my prince's outfit feeling like I could own the place. Boots and a frilly collar did it for me, who knew? I strode to the front where I was meant to pretend I couldn't spot Ella a mile off, only to step from the wings. She locked eyes with me, and panic fired through me until I spluttered. "Stop!" James hurried from the darkened stalls once more. I braced, ready for him to fire me and rehire Chad. I couldn't do it. I could drool, I could cough, I could splutter, but how could I be suave, pretend prince when she was gazing at me? "There a problem?" Ella asked, a curiosity in her eyes as she held my gaze. "Yes," James muttered. "Our handsome prince just started shaking." I looked at my hands rattling my sheath sword. "Yes, she is." Ella cocked her head again. It wasn't fair. How could I not tremble with her looking at me like that? "Don't worry, James. We'll break for lunch. She'll be just fine when we come back." James looked from her to me and sighed. "Your call. Lunch." How quickly a stage could empty. Ella and I were alone, still in position, gazes locked. "I can imagine you're a little nervous being thrust to the front like this." She almost whispered it across the space. "You were so confident with your friend." I cleared my mouth, expecting mothballs. Felt like I'd swallowed mothballs. "I'm used to him in a dress." She laughed, soft, free, and closed the gap between us. "And you're not used to seeing me this way?" "Yes," I squeaked it. "And the top hat." I noticed. She looked so much taller than me on stage, but we were actually eye level. "You look ridiculous as a frog." I shrugged. Should have seen me as a potato 2 years ago. At least Will had been something animated. How did a potato show emotion? What kind of depth did a pre-French fry have? She chuckled. "Oh dear. Radha must be so proud of me." I rubbed my sweaty hands. I'd had to dance with her at some point, and I didn't think cringing Cinderella would go down well. I saw on the programme she studied me closer than was British. No one ever stood this close to me while talking. Not even my previous attempts at relationships. Maybe I needed gum. How did someone from RADA become a frog? Years of experience. And she was getting closer. Did she want to make me faint? It takes great skill. But it doesn't take a lot of acting to look at me like you are now. She reached up and stroked my cheek. My knees wobbled. She needed to cut it out or I was going to stammer. I hadn't stammered since I was a kid. "Dear frog, I suspect you think far too much of me." "No, you've just starred in every major show with critical acclaim. You've done TV, films, even audiobooks, and you just get better." Yes, I was so cool. I knew her professional resume. Why was I telling her? Idiot. "But it never says how much you do off stage, like when you worked with all the community groups to tell your own stories." And now I sounded like a stalker. She raised a blonde eyebrow like she was wondering the same thing. "I was 18, and I volunteered to help out. Less creepy, but still weird. I was there for the whole time I was in RADA." Her eyes softened. Explains why you still look familiar. "Because you put out a restraining order?" I would have. I sounded like someone would come and collect me and take me somewhere secure. "Because I remember you." She shook her head and turned to the stage, opening her arms to it. "I started off as an understudy. No one knew me for years, and then the star had a blazing row with the director and quit, so I had to step up. She strolled back and stroked my cheek, her eyes full of some memory. I blew it. I was so awful they cancelled the show. I blinked. You're kidding. Nope. She took my hand and placed it to her cheek. I was awful because I fell in love with my friend, and I was terrified the audience would see how much I really wanted to forget the hunk crooning over me and run off with her. She leaned into my palm. Of course. She ditched me for the hunk. I groaned for her. That's crap. Indeed it was. Ella turned from me and stared out at the empty stores. I had minor relationships, safe and boring, hoping that I'd feel that moment one day. What moment? Was I tweaking? Wow, I was so cool. When I looked across the stage and saw the same amount of feeling flowing back at me, she glanced over her bare shoulder at me. I'm simple in what I like and what I don't. If you can stun me in a frog outfit, then what do you think I feel when you are standing there looking so perfect? Okay, someone had given Ella the after-show champagne earlier. Huh? Dear Frog, I just changed the entire show to ensure that I get to kiss you. She smiled a charming smile, but one I'd never seen on posters or on stage. It was vulnerable. So are you going to turn into my prince? How did I form words, let alone be a flipping prince? If you help me? She walked to me and leaned in, brushing her soft strawberry lips to mine. You need no help to sway me, dear Frog. The frog thing was really growing on me, I had to admit, but it might help if I don't shiver every time I look at you on stage. She brushed her lips over mine again and held out her hand. Then, if you see me as the boring introvert I am, perhaps you'll feel less awed. I doubt it. I took her hand and stumbled after her. I don't for a second. She led me down the side steps into the stalls and laced her fingers through mine, but it would help to know your real name. Oh, it really is Melody, I mumbled, trying not to trip over her dress. My mum is her own person. Melody Winklefield. Ella pushed open the door to the deserted foyer. I have to say Melody Michaels suits you better. It did. I was lucky. My brother got lumbered with whimsical Winklefield. Ella stopped, turned, and burst into laughter. She covered her mouth. I'm so sorry. I shouldn't laugh. It's okay, I do. I fiddled with my sword sheath, with my free hand. With those names, we were bound to become actors. He is one? She asked between chuckles. Oh yeah, he's Will now, though. I smiled and waited for her to catch on. You really are related. She stared at me. You look nothing like each other. No, thank Mum and her. Well, she got bored easily. I loved holding her hand. I didn't care if I was sweaty, blushing, dressed up as a fake princess attire, and probably shaking so hard I could rattle my teeth loose. I loved it. You have a surname, though, right? She chuckled. Yes. And I slowed her as we headed to the bar that the company took over for lunch. Sludbridge. She shook her head. I didn't know how to fix that one, so I just dropped it. I winced. Yeah, that's nearly as good as mine. Nearly, dear Frog. She leaned against the double doors, her smile as vulnerable once more. But I have many more boring tales for you yet. I kissed her on the cheek. Then good thing I have a plastic sword.